American Muslims to build or expand mosques are being met with opposition all across the country. Issues like traffic or zoning are usually cited, but is an anti-Muslim bias really the culprit?
The latest controversy is in Walkersville, Maryland. Chad Weddle is the Walkersville Town Commissioner. He's in our D.C. Bureau. And Dr. Ahsan Zafar is the president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, USA. Thanks for being here, gentlemen.
Thank you. My pleasure.
You're welcome.
Dr. Ahsan, I think that, we just have to be politically incorrect here for a second and say that in general, what probably worries neighbors when they hear that a new mosque is going to be built is that it will somehow eventually lead to breeding extremism, as has been seen in other parts of the world. Can you quell your neighbors' fears about that?
Well, we have a history of peaceful existence with all communities throughout the world, pretty much for about 100 years outside of Pakistan, where we started in. So I think our track record speaks for itself. Our belief system itself speaks for ourselves, because we believe in the Messiah, who came about 100 years ago. And he stood for peaceful coexistence, discussion, propagation by the pen, as you called it, and not by any kind of force.
All right. So, Chad, what they're proposing is to build a facility that at least twice a year, 10,000 Muslims from all across the country would convene in your town. 10,000 in a town of 5,000, doubling the population. Why is it you don't want this thing built there?
Well, the numbers right there speaks a little bit for it. Trying to deal with, twice our original population with infrastructure, roads, water and sewer. We just want to make sure that all of the infrastructure is in place before we make sure that these plans get approved.
So, Chad, it has to do with traffic and not a bias against Muslims.
No, certainly there are individuals in the town that when they hear that word Muslim, get a negative connotation, especially after the incidents with 9/11. But the town council and the Board of Appeals that will be reviewing this obviously has to take religion out of the equation. They have to look at the criteria that anybody would stand up to, which includes, the roads, traffic conditions, weather.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there some common ground here? Dr. Zafar, will you address the traffic issue, and will you actually be able to build this there, do you think?
Well, I want to correct things a little bit. The gathering is from 5 to 10,000, not a flat 10,000, and it's only once a year. And year-round, we're talking about very few people visiting, perhaps a few.
Well, Doctor, you still are talking about up to 10,000 visiting a town of 5,000.
That is correct, but my understanding is that they have a fair in Walkersville with a similar attendance on that.
All right.
And if it can be handled for that fair, it can be handled for this event as well.
All right, very good. Chad Weddle from Walkersville, the town commissioner there, and Dr. Ahsan Zafar, we thank you for joining us today from Philadelphia. Thank you both.
You're welcome.